Alright, the quad. I'm gonna try to make this quick because last week I had to split it up. I'm gonna try not to split it up this week. So we start with Cedric. He's being escorted out from the dorm to the police cars. So the crowd is like, he looked like he killed somebody. Maybe he did kill somebody. And it's like, why are you so extra? What's going on? So that's happening. Dr. Fletcher is coming up. She's driving up to the building as they're putting Cedric in the car, and she's like, "Not my boy," or whatever. So then the media comes up, and they're like, Dr. Fletcher, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And Sydney is like, "Oh, they're waiting for Queen Eva as usual," something like that. She said, and it's like, why the shade? Like last week you were, "Oh, mommy, can I get a hug?" And now this week you're like, anyway. So Dr. Fletcher is all like, he's an alleged murderer and, yada, yada, yada. And we feel terrible for the family. And my daughter is my life. And if anything ever happened to her, I'd, disembowel myself or whatever. Those are my words, not hers. So Sydney is looking like, okay, yeah, whatever. Let's see. And then all of a sudden it turns into an infomercial for the school. She's like, "We stand by our students here. If you choose us, if you choose us, we choose you too." And it's like, okay, this suddenly became a pitch, like join our school or whatever. But okay. So then, old fella, I don't know his name, but he's an old man with the wild and crazy hair. He comes into Dr. Fletcher's office. She looks so sickening. Like I was looking at her in the scene, and I was like, really, she could be Michelle Obama in the next whatever. Like, I love Tika Sumter down, but when they ask for Michelle Obama in like 2017, she could do it because she has the arms. Like, she was working those arms. But anyway, old fella he comes in, he's got the iPad, and he's like scrolling through, showing her, this is your daughter. This is your daughter without her shirt on. This is your daughter being a part-time lesbian. Yada, yada, yada. And Eva, like, she looked shook, but she didn't look shaken. She looked like, okay, this is not this is not what I expected you to be showing me, but it wasn't like, oh God, what am I gonna do? So he comes in and he's like, basically trying to blackmail her and basically saying, you need to do what we want because we would hate for this scandal to get all out or whatever. She's like, we live in a society where porn stars are making millions and naked people are dating on every other channel. And he's like, well, our lives aren't being played out on TV. Now I'm sitting here watching them on TV and I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm looking at you right now. You on the screen. But, for the sake of the show, our lives are not being played out on TV, yada, yada, yada. And she's like, okay, girl, I got to pee. So let me go to the bathroom. She gets to the bathroom. Well, as she is on her way to the bathroom, old fella is kind of shook by her lack of reaction. He's like, okay, that's not what I expect. We wanted her to break down, but she didn't break down. She was just like, all right, well, listen, porn stars are making money. Maybe that's what my daughter will be, and that's just what it is. So she gets to the bathroom, she pees, yada, yada, yada. She's getting ready, and while she's peeing, apparently, there are boys in the shower. Football, I guess. I don't know. They're taking a shower. I thought this was the jail with Cedric, but apparently it was the football team, and they were lathering up and yada, 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 and then the water just turns off. They're like, yo, what happened to the water? Now, me thinking that they're in jail, I'm like, okay, so y'all done run past your time. But then we flip back to Dr. Fletcher. She's in the bathroom, and she's getting ready to wash her hands, and the water don't come on. So then the secretary is like, Dr. Fletcher, and Eva's like, girl, I know. I'm sitting here about to try to wash my hands. You see that I see this, right? And she's like, okay, well, I was gonna... She asks her something, and she says that's rhetorical, blah, blah, blah. And then secretary's like, well, I was gonna send an email saying that a pipe broke and that we had to shut off the water to fix it. And Eva's like, okay, girl, so why didn't you send the email? Like, get on it. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go send this email. Yada, yada, yada. So basically, they're going to lie about the water is off because they just didn't pay the the water bill. She asked for an extension and they did not give her one. So the water is off but it's not that pipe. Cedric roommate's daddy. Cedric's roommate's daddy comes to the dorm. He's like, Cedric's roommate is like, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I done left you these messages, yada, yada, yada. Daddy's like, okay, I was in court, so. And he's like, Cedric's been arrested. He's like, all right. He didn't do this. This is my dude. He's like, okay, yeah, you said that in your messages. What do you want me to do? And he's like, help my friend. And dude is like, I'm not feeling it. You're going to be a lawyer, yada, yada, yada. Roommate is like, male roommate, because, girl roommate. We didn't even see her this week. She must have died. I don't know. All those seizures and stuff. Maybe she's still over there convulsing. I don't know what's going on with the true roommate. But Cedric's roommate is like, I don't want to be a lawyer, yada, yada, yada. And dad is like, well, listen, too bad. You're going to have to be a lawyer. So anyway, Dr. Fletcher calls an old friend. I don't know who this white woman was, but she calls her and she's like, hey, girl. And the girl's like, hey, Eva, girl, we haven't talked since, brunch in 1974, whatever. And the girl is like, yeah, I was just thinking about the fundraiser we had, yada, yada, yada. And then, Eva was like, I was thinking about the fundraiser. And the lady was like, well, it's no secret, dear, that you were caught, screwing one of the students. And that's why you got fired from the old school and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, the shade. Like, why would you even answer the phone if you go throw digs like that? Like, if I know that I'm shady, which I do know that I am shady, I don't answer the phone for people that I know I'm going to shade. I save the shade for face to face. So you can see my reaction when I'm giving you the shade. Whatever, anyway. So the lady was just kind of rude and shady, and it just, I wasn't feeling it. So basically, Eva got fired from the old school for sleeping with Cutie. And then Cutie turns around and joins the new school. And it's like, okay, so he a little crazy. He got a little stalker in his spirit. So then we get back to the jail. Somebody's in there singing happy birthday to... I'm like, is DMX in the jail? Celebrate his birthday? What's going on? Some brolic niggas in there singing happy birthday. And Cedric has a flashback. And I'm like, okay, so is it Cedric's birthday? Is he singing happy birthday to himself? But also it's Cedric's birthday. Like, so we flashback. And my cousin, Demetria McKinney, is baking a cake for little Cedric. And it's like, hey, it's your birthday. Party down. Woo. Whose birthday is it? It's my birthday. That's right. It's your birthday. And yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, because Demetria always has to find a way to incorporate her vocals, she comes in, happy birthday. And it's like, girl, everywhere you go, you got to sing everywhere. And she only gave like a brief snippet, but she put her soul into it. Happy. And I'm like, okay. So then she finishes singing happy birthday. Somebody starts shooting outside. She throws the cake out the way, tackles the baby, which, I mean, you would do if somebody's shooting right outside your window. And she's like, stay down. And then she goes into, this is why we don't go outside after dark. This is why you got to come straight home from school. You're smart. You was doing crossword puzzles in kindergarten when everybody else was just learning how to read. You can do math in your head, yada, yada. So we find out that Cedric is smart. Whoop diddly. So anyway, we switch back over to Sydney and her roommate. And roommate is Sydney's roommate. Because again, true roommate. She must be dead, because where is she? But Sydney's roommate, we'll call her white roommate. White roommate was just like, oh, my boyfriend's coming to town, because she's got this drawl or whatever. And Sydney is like, slob on his knob, like corn. The whole conversation was just like, suck him off when he gets here. Make sure you do that. And it's like, what was the point of this whole scene? Anyway, boy roommate, Cedric's roommate, we're going to call him boy roommate. He comes to the jail. For what reason, I don't know. Because Cedric gets in there, he's like, sir, thank you for coming. You got to help me. Boy roommate's daddy is just like, look, you are trash and we are not trash. Like, we are recycling and you are trash. And we can't mix. I'm not going to be able to help you because you're going to end up back here anyway because you're trash. My sons are not. They're third generation at this school. and then they're gonna have kids, and the kids are gonna be fourth generation at the school, and you just gonna be in jail, and I'm not gonna be able to do nothing about it. So we're not even gonna start. And Cedric was like, nigga, I didn't do it. Like, it wasn't me. He was like astounded, and so he got mad, spit in the man's face, and went off. But I was looking at the two of them, and they look just alike. I'm like, this should have been Cedric's daddy, or Cedric should have been playing, the guy who's playing Cedric should have been playing boy roommate, because this man and this man look just alike. Like, it was crazy. So anyway, he was just very nasty and rude, and he sounded like David Harrington, but was acting like Jim Cryer over on The Haves and the Have-Nots. Let's see, Coach. We get to Coach. He's trying to ease up on Eva, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, she fine, but is she that fine? To where everybody is like trying to get all up in her meats, in her ham sandwiches and things. But Coach is, I mean, he's not as forceful as crazy cutie over there. But he's just like, I heard you on the phone. Who you talking to? Who you calling? Who you calling a bitch? like Queen Latifah. But yeah, I mean, the conversation, like the words weren't sexual, but it's just kind of his nature. It was just kind of like, I like you. So they talking whatever, and she talking about how what was she talking about? She was talking about how her daughter is ridiculous and she keeps making poor decisions and blah, blah, blah. And he reveals that he has two daughters, and his wife, I don't remember if he said his wife died or left him, but he has two daughters. So they talk about how he can cornrow and box braid and all of that. And it's like, oh, that's nice. Her husband, Derek, texts and says, I want to see you and Sydney or something like that this week. So she immediately calls Sydney and is like, hey, bitch, your dad. I'm sorry, that took me out. Because that's basically, because she had already called her daughter the B word prior to, but she was like, your dad is coming to town, whatever. And the girl was like, I know, but I didn't know he wanted to see you too. And she's like, we are still a family. We are a family, like a giant tree, branching us to the sky. We are a family. We are so much more. Beyonce always had to show out in Dreamgirls. Anyway, but first of all, that's not my actual singing voice. Let me get like Dimitri out here. But yeah, she was like, we're still a family, and the girl and Sydney was just like, I don't know how many wives live 1,000 miles away from their husband, but okay. She was talking real crazy. Now, I talk crazy to my mother, but not that crazy. That's just, she takes it some notches up. Whatever. So, Coach, he hops out the car, and he, is going to open the door for Eva, but she's already opened the door. And I'm like, oh, did she catch that? Like, he's actually a gentleman. But, we pulling up at a strip club. It's like, why we at a strip club? He said something about a seafood buffet, and I'm like, is this a joke about the strippers, or do they have actual good food? Like, are you talking about vaginas or food? I'm lost. And Eva made it real dark all of a sudden, and I'm going to read this exact quote. He was joking around or whatever, and she says, you're like that irritating brother you want to hit in the head with a 2x4 and watch bleed out. And I was like, did Eva kill her brother? Like, where are we going with this? How did we get to murder? Like, all of a sudden. Like, I can't, it threw me off so bad. I was shook when she said that. Like, the annoying brother that you want to hit and watch bleed out. What does this mean? Like, I was torn up about it. Like, for real.